Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? Welcome back to Booster Box Wednesday, doing something a bit different this time. We're opening a Magic the Gathering mystery booster box. And because it's Magic, like I sometimes want to do, I'm going to make Laura open it and make Laura talk through the cards. She can say whether she thinks stuff's good or not.
Why it's a mystery?
It's just quite funny when you do it.
Or that.
So keep opening. Start opening. So what this product is, it's all reprints of Magic cards using original art and original frames, just with one small symbol so you can tell that they're from the mystery booster set. And there are over 1,600 cards.
That's a lot of cards.
Being reprinted, along with 121 different foils. So it's a set built for drafting, and the idea is just that you can draft as many times as you want, and the draft's never going to be the same because it's always going to be different cards showing up. But, you know, it's not the time to meet up and do drafts right now.
Yeah, don't do that.
Because everyone's on home quarantine. So, we're just going to open this. Now, this is the store edition of these boosters. There are also convention editions. What those have in is, instead of the foil, they have what looks like a test card. Let's move this back a bit, get it in, centered in frame. And you can start opening, Laura.
Can I take them out?
You can take them out if you want, however you want to do it. So they have a test card, which is a card that they wouldn't ever be able to print in regular Magic. How many card packs actually? So there's 24 packs, so it's one draft thing. It's not a full 36 pack box. Alright.
Okie dokie.
I think there's a foil in every pack, but rather than the test card, but I'm sure we'll see as we go through. Alright. So as you can see here, so this is the original set symbol they have, but in this bottom corner, they have the Planeswalker symbol, if you want to hold one right up. That's the only way that you know that these are from the mystery boosters rather than being from the original set. It includes stuff, if you go back to this card here, that is a dual deck symbol, so that's not a main set. It can include stuff like that too.
I see.
It includes master sets, we just saw a master set symbol there. Optifine is a cool card. And so there's our rare. What is it?
So we've got a Kragenwick Cremator.
Do you know what set it's from?
No, I don't recognize that.
That is, I think, Shadowmoor. I'm also not 100% sure.
That might be right.
It's one of those.
So for 2 red and 2, you get a 5/4, and when it comes into play, discard a card at random.
Yeah, I'm going to zoom this in for you.
Thank you.
There you go. So you don't have to hold them as much up to the camera.
Okay. Discard a card at random. If you discard a creature card this way, it deals damage equal to that card's power to target player. That's kind of neat.
I mean, it's a 4-mana 5/4.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Oh, and then there's
another rare. Okay, nice.
So this one's a stunt double, blue and 3. It's a 0/0 with flash. You may have stunt double enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield. Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, wow. Foil Norin the Wary. We like him, right?
He's a kind of cool card. He's another rare as well, so foil rare.
Yeah, so he's red for a legendary creature. He's a 2/1. When a player plays a spell or a creature attacks, remove Norin the Wary from the game. Return it to play under its owner's control at the end of turn. Huh. He's got like combo-y stuff, right?
Yeah, if you have stuff that happens when a creature comes into play, you can
He's neat.
do stuff with him. Yeah.
Do you want me to keep rares separate?
No, we can do that later.
Okay.
Right. I can pull stuff out as you're doing stuff.
Alright. Kind of neat to see all these different cards from different sets.
Where did Norin go? Oh, he's still here on your own.
Oh, sorry, Norin.
Oh, you're a Pyromancer. You should say if there's any cards you recognize.
Okay. Oh, this
so
looks
see
old.
our first old bordered one.
So this is a Toxin Sliver. For black and 3, it's a 3/3. Whenever a sliver deals combat damage to a creature, destroy that creature. It can't be regenerated. don't like slivers.
So it's like Death Touch before the keyword of Death Touch.
They're gross. And then we have a Rune Scarred Demon. 2 black and 5. It's a 6/6 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. That seems very good. Card search seems...
It is 7 mana.
Yeah. And then we have a Leveler, which is also a rare.
I'm not sure if all of the foils are rares. They might
Okay.
be, I'm not sure.
5 mana artifact creature. It's a 10/10. When it comes into play, remove your library from the game. Uh-oh.
There's combo stuff with that as well.
Okay.
You don't just immediately lose. There are ways you can do it so that you win if you don't have a library.
Okay, because that seems like bad news bears otherwise. I've seen that before. That's a big dog. I recognize that artwork.
Okay.
I don't recognize what the card does, but... Oh, Courser of Crufix. I don't like this
Hold
one.
it a bit more up to the camera. But
Like
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't like playing against this. 2 green and 1. It's a 2/4. You play with the top card of your library revealed. You may play the top card of your library if it's a land card. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life.
Yeah, when you were playing mono red, it's not very nice.
Yeah, it's very rude. And then, oh, I guess this pack only had 1 rare.
Yeah, I want to see something do.
And then a Stormcrow. So he's a blue and 1, a 1/2 flying.
It
And some
became
flavor
kind
text.
of a joke that because Stormcrow is like one of the worst cards ever printed.
Oh.
So people, it became like a meme in the Magic community. With people talking about how much they love Stormcrow.
I see. He doesn't seem that bad.
Well, it's just it doesn't really do much. It's a 2 mana 1/2 flyer.
I guess. I like the dinosaur. Ooh. That's our first mythic, right?
Yep.
So for 1 of each color, it's a 5/5 Maelstrom Archangel. It's got flying, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may play a non-land card from your hand without paying its mana cost. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a very good angel. Oh wow, and then we also got Elish Norn. That's good, right? We like that. Let's read it, find out, I guess.
Okay.
2 white and a 5. It's a 4/7 with vigilance. Other creatures you control get +2/+2. Creatures your opponents control get -2/-2. That's bonkers. This card is really good.
It's a good reanimation target.
And then we got a Mindslaver, which is a 6 mana artifact that for 4 and to tap it, you can sacrifice it and you control target player's next turn. That's really good too.
I think that's a nice foil to get.
I don't know what card I would pick from that pack. Like probably Elish Norn?
I think I would pick Elish. I mean, Mindslaver is really good in that it's colorless, but I think I'd pick
Yeah.
Elish. It's Savannah Lines.
Aw, I like the kitties.
There's another one.
Yeah. There's another old card.
Yeah. I think the vast majority are new boarded. There's a rare.
We've got a Torment of Hailfire. 2 black and X. Sorcery. Repeat the following process X times. Each opponent loses 3 life unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card. That's pretty good. And then a foil Magerite Stone, but that one is only uncommon.
Yep.
So
So you don't care about
don't have to read it. Aw, yes.
your red Stormcrow.
I thought Stormcrow was a rare.
Oh, that's cool. Shocked. No, he's a common.
Oh,
I'd be very shocked if Stormcrow was a rare.
but I love him.
Okay.
I kind of recognize that guy.
There's lots of cons out here. It's one of my favorite sets.
recognize that too.
It's also from Hands of Tokyo.
Oh, we got another mythic, an Eldrazi Monument. 5-mana artifact. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and have flying and indestructible. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. If you can't, sacrifice Eldrazi Monument. I don't like that.
Really?
No. And an Intruder Alarm. 2 and a blue. Enchantment. Creatures don't untap during their controller's untap steps. Whenever a creature comes into play, untap all creatures.
There are combo things to do with that.
I believe that. That's kind of a neat idea. So there's a lot going on in this set thing.
Set thing?
Not quite set. I don't know what you would call it. I
mean-
remember the caterpillar.
Okay. I mean, you went with set thing, so is there a better name?
Who knows? Oh, it's a recruiter of the guard. I sort of recognize that from something, right?
Yeah, we've opened some Conspiracy 2 boxes on the channel before.
So 2 and a white. It's a 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a creature card with toughness 2 or less, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle. That doesn't seem too bad. And an Ogre Gatecrasher is the foil. I'm just hoping that I open up a dragon and get to keep it.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen any dragons yet, but I say there's like 20 odd dragons in the set and 1,600 cards, so
A lot going on.
I'm just flipping through, make sure we didn't miss one.
We got a land.
Okay, I mean, did you see what it did?
It's a
You,
scruffy.
you just didn't even read it out.
I want to get to Animar Soul of Elements.
Okay.
Look at this fancy guy. For a blue, a red, and a green, it's a 1/1 with protection from white and black. Whenever you cast a creature spell, it gets a +1/+1 counter. And creature spells you cast cost 1 less for each 1/1 counter on it. I like him a lot.
Okay.
He's a big, angry, I don't know, place monster.
Elemental?
Sure,
Yeah.
Place monster.
That's written on the card.
but he's a place monster. And also Teferi's Puzzle Box. For 4 mana, it's an artifact. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player puts the cards in his or her hand on the bottom of his or her library in any order, then draws that many cards. Huh.
Before this printing, it got expensive for a while because it was a huge combo with Narset, which is the planeswalker that say your opponents can't draw more than 1 card a turn.
Huh?
So if you had Narset and Teferi's Puzzle Box out,
You
they'd
just
draw
got to draw.
They would draw their they would draw their card for a turn and then put their entire hand on the bottom of the deck.
That's gross.
Yeah.
I don't approve of that.
Okay.
Don't be doing that, Magic players. That's a dragon on a card.
I mean, we've seen Nicol Bolas a few times. He's a dragon on the card.
That's fun. That's a pretty card.
Yeah.
It's a weird.
It is weird.
Alright, so we've got a rare is a Greenbelt Rampager. For 1 green, it's a 3/4. When it enters, pay 2 energy counters. If you can't, return it to its owner's hand and you get 1 energy. Okay, so that, I was thinking, oh god, that's ridiculous. Why are you getting a 3/4 for 1 mana? I see now. And then we've got Glittering Wish. For a green and a white, it's a sorcery. Choose a multicolored card you own from outside the game, reveal that card and put it into your hand. Remove Glittering Wish from the game. That feels really cool in this kind of a format.
Yeah, outside the game means your sideboard.
Right.
Yeah.
But you'd have like so many just weird random things in your sideboard with this.
Yeah, they have to be multicolored though. So I guess it depends what you're doing. So you have to have drafted a multicolored card that you can cast that is good enough to fetch up, but bad enough that you didn't put it in your...
That's a good card, right?
Yeah, directional card, good card. You're showing almost only yourself the cards at this point.
Sorry. Get real excited about them. We got a Supreme Verdict. For 1, 2 white, and a blue, it's a sorcery that can't be countered and it destroys all creatures. That's mean, I don't like that. I want to keep my creatures. We have a chimney imp. He's ugly and I hate him.
Brilliant. You could say anything during this. Hey, there you go.
I found my dragon!
There you go, put him off to the side.
Yay, my dragon. I was thinking about what to say and then I ran into a dragon.
Excellent.
That's a land.
Yep. It is a dragon.
Ooh! He's really cool. His name is Draco. Why does he cost 16 mana? Oh,
I don't know. Maybe read him and find out.
Draco costs 2 less to play for each basic land type among lands you control. So if you have all of them, then he's only...
Okay. Now let's see if Laura can remember how many basic land types there are in Magic.
6. He'd be 6.
Yep.
Wastes don't count, right?
No, because they're not a basic land type.
Okay. He's got flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Draco unless you pay 10. This cost is reduced by 2 for each basic land type among lands you control. He's a 9/9. So he'd be good if I was building that commander deck with the 5-color dragon.
I think one of the test cards from the convention edition of this was a land that was an extra and another basic land type.
Huh.
I don't remember if that was definitely true though.
That sounds interesting and would help me with him.
Yeah.
Then we've got Phyrexian Arena. For 1 and 2 black, it's an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. I don't like cards like that. Oh, this is fun. Wear Tear. It's a nice little foil different thing.
You could have read it out or whatever.
No, it's not a rare, is it?
No, it's not. But do you know what it does?
It wears and it tears.
But do you know what these cards are?
You can play both halves if you pay for...
Oh yeah, it's written right in front of you. You can either cast one half of it or you can cast both.
I like that one. That kind of looks like Avacyn type angel-y deal. That's creepy. Grape Shot is a thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Grape Shot's a thing.
It's got Storm, that's why it's a thing.
Storm, yeah.
Is that... it's like a lotus thing.
You mean lily pads?
Yeah, but...
there's the lotuses, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did you read what it did?
No.
It adds mana and stuff.
Oh, okay. I guess that's what lotus do.
This is why I have you open Magic stuff.
We've got Anger of the Gods. For 1 and 2 red, it's a sorcery. Deals 3 damage to each creature, and if a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. I like that.
Okay.
We like red spells. And then we've got Morrow as the foil. For 2 and 2 green, he's a star. His power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your hand. No two see the same Morrow. That's deep.
Morrow is named after Morpho as well. That's his nickname.
Oh.
He's trying to process that information.
What?
What?
He does something with magic, right? He makes cards.
He's the designer.
Oh, look at that creepy fish. Sorry, Mark Rosewater. Aww. I want this one.
Okay.
Okay, we've got a Martyr's Bond, 4 and 2 white for an enchantment. Whenever Martyr's Bond or another non-land permanent you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a permanent that shares a card type with it. That's way too complicated. We got another mythic. I like this one. I want it. It's 1 and 2 green for a legendary elf scout. It's a 2/3. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, its controller may draw a card if its power is greater than each other creature's power. And then for a green, and if you tap it, you can add X mana and any combination of colors to your mana pool, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. That seems good.
I like that they've got a reprint because it's pretty expensive, and it means I can now get my missing copies of the original.
And I can keep this one.
If you really want to.
And then we got a Proclamation of Rebirth as the foil. For 2 and a white, it's a sorcery. Return up to 3 target creature cards with converted mana cost 1 or less from your graveyard to play. It's also got Forecast, which is 5 and a white. Reveal Proclamation of Rebirth from your hand. Return target creature card with converted mana cost 1 or less from your graveyard to play. Why wouldn't you just play it for its
Right.
mana?
Read the rest of that.
Play this ability only during your upkeep and only once each turn, so you can just keep doing it.
Yeah, every upkeep. That's why you would not just play the card, because if you forecast it, you still have it in your hand and you can do it next turn.
I see. But you still have to, it's untapped first, so then you would have to tap
Yes.
6 mana
Yes.
each turn. Okay. I don't like that. It can go away.
It's a very good combo card. Different things.
Oh, I'm not picking it.
Okay. Yeah, I probably wouldn't pick it in the draft, but
It's a murder. I want it to be crows. Because that's what a group of crows is called.
yep, we got it.
Alright, we've got a Whir of Invention. For X and 3 blue, it's an instant with Improvise. Your artifacts can help cast this spell. Each artifact you tap after you're done activating mana abilities pays for 1 colorless. Search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost X or less, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. That seems fun. And then the foil is a Spelltithe Enforcer. He's an elephant, and I love him.
Okay.
3 and 2 white. He's a 3/3. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, that player sacrifices a permanent unless he or she pays 1. I love him. He makes your spells cost more. But he's an elephant.
Yep.
And also a wizard. The chair is very squeaky.
That's because you're sitting not on it properly. You're sitting right on the edge of it.
Oh, that one's got some cute doggos too.
Yeah.
We got a Thrun the Last Troll. For 2 and 2 green, he's a 4/4. He can't be countered. He can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control, and you can regenerate him for 1 and a green.
Yeah, he's very hard to kill.
Yeah. We also got Release the Gremlins for red XX. Destroy X target artifacts. Create X 2/2 red gremlin creature tokens. I like that. That's fun. Just so many gremlins. And then we got a Fiery Gambit. 2 and a red for a sorcery. Flip a coin until you lose a flip or choose to stop flipping. If you lose a flip, Fiery Gambit has no effect. If you win 1 or more flips, Fiery Gambit deals 3 damage to target creature. If you win 2 or more flips, Fiery Gambit deals 6 damage to each opponent. If you win 3 or more flips, Draw 9 cards and untap all lands you control. Do those stack?
Yeah.
So
it's
if you
one or
win
more,
3...
you do all 3 effects.
Okay. That's interesting. I'd be flipping 3 coins each time.
Well, I mean, it depends on the board state.
No.
Okay.
Just want to flip some coins. I like the eel. Is that a land?
No.
Oh.
It's a 6 mana enchantment.
But it enchants a land. I see. I recognize that guy.
Yep.
Miss that guy. Okay, so we have a Tower of Eons. For 4 mana, it's an artifact, and then for 8, and if you tap it, you gain 10 life. Seems like a lot of mana to do that. And then we have a mythic Queen Marchesa. She's 1, a red, a white, and a black for a 3/3 with Death Touch and Haste. When she enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent is the monarch, put a 1/1 black assassin creature token with Death Touch and Haste onto the battlefield. I like her. She seems powerful.
Yeah.
Then we got a Grand Architect. 1 and 2 blue, it's a 1/3. Other blue creatures you control get +1/+1. For a blue, target artifact creature becomes blue until end of turn. And you tap an untapped blue creature you control. Add 2 to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts. That's kind of fun.
Yep. Does some stuff.
It certainly do. Gosh, this is a lot of cards.
And yet it's smaller than most boxes.
Yeah, but it's got like 2 rares and sometimes 3 in each pack.
Yeah.
Ooh.
There you go. There's a dragon for you.
Dragon Broodmother. 2, 3 red and a green for a 4/4 with flying. At the beginning of each upkeep, put a 1/1 red and green dragon creature token with flying and devour 2 into play. I love her. And then we got Gaunty, Lord of Luxury. 2 and 2 black, he's a 2/3 with Death Touch. When he enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of target opponent's library. Exile 1 of them face down, then put the rest on the bottom of that library in a random order. For as long as that card remains exiled, you may look at it, you may cast it, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast it. That seems really good.
Yeah, I've played that one. It's very good.
And then we have a Balefire Liege. He's 2 and 3 split mana?
Hybrid mana.
Hybrid mana.
So you can pay either a red or a white.
Got it. He's a 2/4. Other red creatures you control get +1/+1. Other white creatures you control get +1/+1. Whenever you play a red spell, it deals 3 damage to target player. Whenever you play a white spell, you gain 3 life. He seems so good.
Seems alright. There was a full cycle of those. I don't think he was one of the best ones from the cycle.
Oh, no.
I don't think the whole cycle has been reprinted.
I like red and I like white.
Yeah, me too.
So, seems fine.
I also like those colors along with black. I like Mardu.
I like this bat.
3/1 flying 4.
Okay, we've got a Hypnotic Spectre. 1 and 2 black, it's a 2/2 flyer. Whenever it deals damage to an opponent, that player discards a card at random. That's kind of fun. We got Fibblethip! He's 1 and a blue for a 1/1. When he enters the battlefield, draw a card. If it entered from your library or was cast from your library, draw 2 cards instead. When he becomes the target of a spell, shuffle him into his owner's library. He is my We also got a Fungasaur. He is a creature type Fungasaur. 3 and a green. He's a 2/2. Whenever it's dealt damage, put a +1/+1 counter on it. The damage is dealt before the counter is put on. I like it. Fungasaur might be my new favorite creature type.
I don't think it officially has that creature type anymore. I think it's probably a dinosaur now. But they just, when they reprinted, they had to make them exactly the same as their originals.
That's rude.
Yeah, not many creatures have creature types that are just their full name.
He's a cheetah. Cheetah. We got Birds of Paradise.
Yeah.
For 1 green, it's a 0/1 flyer that you can tap to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool.
There you
So
go.
that's a real good card. We like the birds. We also got an Allosaurus Rider for 5 and 2 green. It's a 1+*, 1+*. Oh boy. You may remove 2 green cards in your hand from the game rather than play Allosaurus Rider's mana cost. Allosaurus Rider's power and toughness are each equal to 1+ the number of lands you control. That's too complicated. I don't want it.
It's a combo piece. There's stuff that you can, which has like sacrifice a creature to search for a creature with converted mana cost 1 more, or from the same. So if you get him down by just selling 2 green cards, you can then immediately go and get Griselbrand.
Gross. Fish lizard. We have a Chancellor of the Annex. 4 and 3 white. You may reveal, oh, it's a 5/6. You may reveal this card from your opening hand. If you do, when each opponent casts his or her first spell of the game, counter that spell unless that player pays 1. Flying. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, counter it unless that player pays 1. So you can just show it off and then take forever to be able to play it.
It's played quite heavily in Reanimator. Because it's a good reanimation target, and also, if you have one in your opening hand, often Reanimator can just combo off turn 1, so that means that it basically gets rid of the first counter spell.
I see. And we have Approach of the Second Sun for 6 and a white. If Approach of the Second Sun was cast from your hand and you've cast another spell named Approach of the Second Sun this game, you win the game. Otherwise, put Approach of the Second Sun into its owner's library 7th from the top and you gain 7 life. I don't think I would want to pick that in a draft like this.
Really?
No.
I would probably first pick it over a lot of stuff. It's a very, very good card in draft. Are you not understanding it?
No, I mean, you play it once and then it goes back and then you maybe get to play it again, but I want to play, like, creatures and stuff.
Okay. If your reasoning was just, I want to play creatures and stuff, I guess there's no argument with that.
I want to play this Spellweaver Volute. I don't know what a Volute is.
Well,
I can't even tell how to cast this.
it's 3 blue. It's a future shift.
Oh, okay. So those are the.
Yep.
Okay.
What did you think they were?
I didn't know what's going on here. So it's an enchantment aura. Enchant instant card in a graveyard. Whenever you play a sorcery spell, copy the enchanted instant card. You may play the copy without paying its mana cost. If you do, remove the enchanted card from the game and attach Spellweaver Volute to another instant card in a graveyard. That's way too complicated. Take it away.
Future shifted stuff was designed to be really weird.
Can't even read how to play it. Too much. Just too much. Dragon Bell Monk is almost a dragon.
Almost, yeah.
Not quite.
No.
That's kind of cool. Some good looking artwork. We got an Aetherflux Reservoir for 4. It's an artifact Whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn. You can pay 50 life and it deals 50 damage to target creature or player.
No? Okay.
And Fate Spinner. 1 and 2 blue. It's a 1/2. The beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player chooses draw step, main phase, or combat phase. The player skips each instance of the chosen step or phase this turn. That's ridiculous. I don't like that. What if you have like 4 of them out?
Then I think you just choose the same step 4 times.
Oh. Okay.
I'm also not sure if some of these, like the knights and stuff, are rares, because they might be, just because they're from sets before they color-coded the set symbols. I have no idea.
Rawr. Oh, look, 2 dinosaurs right next to each other.
Incredible.
It is incredible. I see what you mean. We have Evra, Halcyon Witness. Halcyon? Is that right?
I don't know.
We have
Probably.
4 and 2 white for a 4/4 with lifelink. And for 4, exchange your life total with Evra Halcyon Witness's power. Would that include like counters and stuff?
What do you mean?
So like if it had a +1/+1 counter.
Yeah, I think that would mean your life total became 5, and but then its base stats would become your life total, and then it would still have a +1 counter.
That seems alright. And a sheltering agent. He's a tree folk.
Cool. How many packs you got left? 2?
2 packs left. We are almost through. The end is in sight.
I'm just reading Floodgate. It's the weirdest card ever. Like, I don't know if this is a rare, but read what that does.
3 and a blue, it's a 0/5. If Floodgate gains flying, bury it.
That means sacrifice it.
Okay. If Floodgate leaves play, it deals to each non-blue creature without flying 1 damage for each 2 islands you control.
Yeah, they don't template cards like that anymore.
Whew. Alright, that's something else. Kitty. There are probably other kitties I need to steal.
And they definitely were.
Oh, he's a mythic. We got Kiki-Jiki Mirror Breaker. 2 and 3 red. He's a 2/2 with haste, and you can tap him to put a token that's a copy of target non-legendary creature you control onto the battlefield. That token has haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. He seems real good.
He's a combo with that intruder alarm that we got earlier.
Ah. And then that's not exciting.
Foil Paradox Haze.
Last pack.
Last pack.
Alright. Is there anything we like want from this?
No, it's good stuff.
Just kind of whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I think the most expensive thing is Mana Crypt.
It's kind of a pretty card.
It's basic lens cycle.
Oh, we got Liliana Death's Majesty. 3 and 2 black. She's a planeswalker that starts on 5 loyalty. Her +1 is create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. -3, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. And then -7, destroy all non-zombie creatures. I mean, Liliana usually seems good.
Yeah, I mean, a Planeswalker is never a bad thing to pick,
Yeah.
usually.
And then we got Zur's Weirdling. Weirding.
You added an L
I
there.
did. It's because we saw a Weirdling earlier, I think. 3 and a blue For an enchantment, players play with their hands revealed. If a player would draw a card, he or she reveals it instead. Then any other player may pay 2 life. If a player does, put that card into its owner's graveyard. Otherwise, that player draws the card. That is weirding.
Yeah. Alright, that was a box. It
Yeah.
took some time for you to get through it, but it was a box.
It was a box.
So what do you think of this weird set, Laura?
I kind of like it as a supplemental product.
And that's all the rares and foils we got. There's like a lot of them compared to a normal box.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, most packs had at least 2.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go through them all.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, as a supplemental product, it's pretty neat. I would... I wouldn't want to draft with this, because I'd have to read every single card and try and figure out what the heck I was doing.
I don't think anyone's really gonna get to draft with this.
Yeah, for different reasons.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of it. I would maybe be interested to play, like, a sealed with it.
Okay.
With so many different cards, like...
Yeah.
You have a lot of kind of weird options. You know, maybe we can pick up another box at some point and entertain ourselves while we're stuck in the house.
That'd be cool. Yeah, so anyway, that is Booster Box Wednesday for this week. We took a break from the Pokemon because we didn't have anything else to say on Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
So, but next week we'll be back not saying very much about Sword and Shield.
Yay!
But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye!
Thanks for watching. Check out some more videos right here.
And don't forget to subscribe for more awesome Pokemon content from DJ Gigabyte.
Gotta catch 'em all.